The film industry showered woke musical Emilia Perez with all kinds of accolades and awards and praise and good reviews, only to discover that the lead celebrity in the film and its director are both bigots, sending shockwaves throughout Hollywood.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. Now, I have not seen Emilia Perez, so this is more of a reaction to the news around it. I want to make that absolutely clear. I have no plans on watching this movie because my good friend Jester Bell, she actually did a really good breakdown of the film, so head on over to her YouTube channel. It's just Jester Bell, and check her out. She also has done other commentary about the film. What I will be talking about are my three takeaways from the controversy surrounding it. So, first, this movie was getting all kinds of accolades from the entertainment industry. It was winning awards, it won big at the BAFTAs, at the Golden Globes, and it got nominated for 13 Academy Awards, sending the message that those in Hollywood who are politically correct and woke and all into DEI, didn't earn it. We think this movie is better than Dune Part 2. We think it's better than Lord of the Rings. We think it's better than Citizen Kane. We think it's on par with Gone with the Wind. It's an absolute embarrassment that this movie has gotten that far at all, especially since it's made by some Eurotrash director no one cares about. But what is truly shocking is how they're reacting to the discovery that the celebrity who stars in the film, who plays Emilia Perez, this person has all kinds of bigoted social media posts smearing Jews, smearing Muslims, and the director is not much better. He clearly hated Mexico when he went to scout for locations to film Emilia Perez, came back and shot the movie in France, and said that Spanish is the language of the poor. And I hate to break it to this director, who is completely slimy. I would like to point out to him that Spanish is a Latin language like French, like Italian. So he needs to shut up about that. All of this stuff has caused cascades. There are rumors that the Academy Awards are in chaos because they typically vote for these movies and their awards ahead of time. So, what are they going to do? Are they going to have an emergency straw vote and rearrange everything? For one thing, all of the Best Picture nominees, with the exception of Dune Part 2, are garbage films. No one cared about them. No one saw them. If you want a list of the actual best films, go to studiojakemedia.com and look up my top 10 best films of 2024. Those are the best films of that year. Now, with all this playing out, what does this mean? Well, I have three takeaways from the whole Emilia Perez controversy. Originally, I thought that Conclave was going to be the Academy's woke film. Why? It's very anti Christian, it is pretentious and slow and bland. Now, the performances are fine in it, I guess. Ralph Fiennes is a brilliant actor, so is John Lithgow, so is Stanley Tucci, so no criticism there. But the movie itself is just boring, and it's incredibly bigoted toward Christians, particularly my Catholic brothers and sisters. Now, I thought that they were going to go that way because it also kind of panders to the LGBTQ community. However, they discovered something new with Emilia Perez because it is made by a Frenchman. He wrote, directed, I think did most of the music for it, edited it himself, which was a big mistake. And this one brought all the checklists out, right? So there's a song about Zoe Saldana's character who sings about being poor and black and how other people take advantage of her. So there you go. You've got the pandering to not one, but two minorities, right? Black people and brown people. Then, of course, it's about a drug cartel member who becomes trans. So there's the pandering to the LGBTQ community. Then there's the music in the movie. Oh, so now we get to be artsy fartsy about it. Then, of course, there's the amoral messaging, the lack of moral compass, because these people in Hollywood don't believe in objective good and evil. So it's got everything in between It hits all the right checklists, and that's the reason it actually swept at all these award shows and was primed to sweep at the Oscars. It is exactly what they were looking for in a movie, and they could say, look at us, look at how we are virtue signaling, look at us. I voted for Emilia Perez, this groundbreaking, boring film. It will slay the chuds, and we can say, yes, queen, to all the people in the movie. Now, keep in mind, this movie was not filmed in Mexico, even though the majority of it takes place in Mexico. It was filmed on a French soundstage, and also the director couldn't speak Spanish because, again, remember, he's racist toward Spanish speakers. So he was just yelling at the stars, who most of them couldn't speak Spanish either. They weren't native born. Selena Gomez, while she is Mexican, she was born in Texas. So she couldn't even speak Spanish. So they couldn't even be bothered to hire a dialect coach. Because I want to point out something. Spain Spanish and Mexico Spanish are very different. I know this because my wife is Mexican and she speaks Mexican Spanish, and it is a totally different dialect than in Europe. I would just like to point that out. He couldn't even be bothered to that. That's incredibly lazy directing. That's incredibly lazy thing to do for a director, but the Academy does not care about this. So they gave this film these 13 Oscar nominations because for some reason they still think the Academy is important. And even some of my friends who also do film stuff, they're kind of like, oh, Jacob, you're so harsh on the Academy. Let me tell you something. The Academy hasn't mattered since 2012. The last, I would say, decent movie to win, or I'll say the last movie that I thought was a masterpiece to win, not so with Emilia Perez, but they want us to believe that Emilia Perez is better than the artist because that's how blindsided by their virtue signaling they are. And they found that. Like I said, I thought it was going to be Conclave, but it ended up being Emilia Perez. Number two, Hollywood has kind of exposed themselves with this film. For one thing, they're oddly silent about Gascon, the star of the film, and the director's bigoted comments. Now, a few of them have offered kind of tepid and shallow denunciations. Some are still showing support. In fact, the media is trying to run cover for them, but not so much with the people of Hollywood. You don't see a bunch of the stars, directors come out and support this film like they did with that child exploitation film Cuties, right? They are being extra silent about this. Now, Zoe Saldana, she's thrown the movie under the bus. She's like, oh, no, I'm not going to be any part of this, which is odd because she actually supported Chris Pratt when he was being targeted by the woke mob for going to church. But she decided to throw Gascon and the director under the bus. I wonder why that is. Don't know. Maybe she's just trying to save her own reputation, because by all accounts, most of the people who have reviewed the movie have said that she is the best thing in this movie, so she might be the only one to potentially get another film role. So maybe she's just trying to run cover. Now, again, it wasn't like she said, oh, yes, I denounce everything they said. She did one of those typical Hollywood vague denunciations where she's like, oh, there's no hate has no place anywhere, blah, 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 blah. One of those types of things. So with friends like these, who needs enemies? Because if Hollywood was truly interested in just telling their story because it's good art, they would be jumping up and down, running to any microphone they could get in front of to support this film because of its message and the fact that it's artsy farcy and it was made by some Eurotrash director. They would get on board with this. And they would be like, we need to defend this film because of its message, because it gets the woke ideology out there, and those stupid masses who don't understand it, oh, they're just so stupid. They could be doing that, but they're not. They're being quiet. And I find that incredibly odd. What is going on here? I think it exposes Hollywood's hypocrisy. They were so eager to promote this film before the scandal broke, and now they're silent. Hypocrites. Nothing but hypocrites. You didn't hear a word about it at the Grammys. Oh, sure, someone threw out something about trans rights. Of course, Lady Gaga, she was woke on stage. Someone else said DEI is a gift. Well, if that gift was a pile of poop, yes, that would be DEI. Didn't earn it. And I think it's so funny, though, that no one, especially since Grammys is all about music, right? No one got up on that stage and defended the director or star of Emilia Perez. Wow, very interesting. Number three, and I'm not the first person to say this, Critical Drinker, I think, was the first to point this out. I hope it wins. I hope it sweeps the Oscars, because then we can officially stop pretending that they matter. It's true, at one time they did. They actually celebrated filmmaking as an art, as a craft, and good movies got rewarded for it. Yeah, sure, there was a few here and there, like Crash, where they didn't deserve it. Sure, I totally agree with that. But nowadays, like I said, in my opinion, 2012, and there's been a few good Best Picture winners since 2012, but I'm just saying it's been very spotty, and it's all more about patting each other on the back and rewarding, saying, oh, it's your turn to win an Oscar. Oh, it's this person's the next hot thing, and they had a movie that had a gay character in it, so this movie deserves to win the award. That's what it has become. And I don't see how anyone can say anything different. I don't think it's a celebration of art. And now they are pushing the envelope with Emilia Perez, a movie about a murdering drug lord who suddenly gets redeemed, not because of an act of attrition, not because this person realizes the error of his ways, he being the drug lord, but it's just because he has an operation and he chops off his private areas to become a she. That's not a redemption arc. That's not how real life works. In real life, you face consequences one way or another. Maybe those of us around you don't see it sometimes, but you face consequences. What's even more hilarious is the LGBTQ community hates this film. Mexicans certainly hate this film. The audience, just the general audience, hates this film. But Hollywood loved it, and they were kissing the boots of this Eurotrash director up until this scandal broke. Very interesting to me. Like I said, I hope it sweeps. I hope it wins, because then it permanently exposes just how lost Hollywood is, just how entrenched they are in woke ideology and Marxist engineering. Now, as a bonus, on the other end, like I said, I hope it wins. I've actually been reading on social media, which is a dangerous thing to do. I do it because I'm in marketing and social media is a part of marketing. But there's this conspiracy theory that's been floating around that when the studios saw the backlash from the trans community, from the audiences, from Mexico, they were thinking, oh man, we got to do something about this. And they actually leaked Gascon's post to the press. Same with the director. They actually leaked all of that stuff to get the scandal started so they wouldn't have to vote. They would just say, oh, yeah, I got all these nominations, but look, Dune Part 2 actually won. And part of this conspiracy theory is that Zoe Saldana, who I believe has been nominated for Best Supporting Actress or Best Actress, I can't remember. She's nominated for something. They'll still give her an award to kind of still throw the movie a bone, but it's not going to win any of the other awards just because of the scandal. And this scandal gives them an excuse not to vote for them. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I think that's a very interesting conspiracy theory. Quite possibly it could be real. If you like that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment, tell what you think, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. If you would be so kind, head on over to my website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where you'll find even more commentary, reviews, and so much more on all of your favorite pop culture topics, including film, including television, anime, novels, music, and so much more. Best of all, it's free. You just have to sign up with your email address or through the WordPress app, and you'll get a notification when I post a new article, and I post daily. So definitely head on over. Oh, and I mentioned there are no ads. It's all just free and fun. If you want to support the work that I'm doing, head on over to my locals community. The link is in the description of the video. You can sign up for a monthly subscription or send my articles tips, and I post things exclusively there, including my short stories. Speaking of stories, I've also written books. I've got the supernatural thriller Cacophony, which is about a group of angels and demons who are warring over the souls of a small Texas town. You'll definitely want to pick this one up. If you are more into sword and sorcery, I have my series, The Seven Royals. The first book is All Good Things. The second book is Breaking the Stars. It follows a group of your favorite fairy tale characters who have to band together to stop a dark army from conquering their home. You will love it. I guarantee there's nothing woke or DI about this one. Last but certainly not least, I have my novella Blessed Child. It is a fantasy romance that follows an elf princess who discovers she's pregnant with a human child, and this sends the elven kingdom into chaos. Her father, the king of the elves, hires a disgraced knight who is on the path of redemption to be her bodyguard, and the two form an unlikely friendship. It is about courage under fire, it is life affirming, and I really hope that you will pick this one up or the rest or all of them and leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.
Cause I've been living life right like I